Hi, I'm Dennis Phillips, and welcome to Everyday Reloading and Shooting. There's a link in the description below to this video where I shot charge weights of 20 grains to 21.8 grains of accurate 2495 powder using a 75 grain boat tail hollow point bullet. My best group was 0.37 inches. So what I'm doing is I'm further developing that load, and I'm using that same charge weight of 20.9 grains, and I'm going down a tenth of a grain to 20.8, 20.7, and then up a tenth of a grain to 21.0 and 21.1 to see how these compare. That 20.9 grain shot really well at 0.37 inches below. So I'm going to see if there's a node on either side of that, left or right. Okay, so here I'm expanding on a previous load I developed with accurate 2495 powder and a Hornady 75 grain boat tail hollow point bullet. I had developed a charge and found that 20.9 grains of accurate powder produced a group size of 0.37 inches, and the others were just kind of so-so. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in 1/10 of a grain increments on either side of that 20.9, and I'm going with 20.8, 20.7 below, 21 and 21.1 above that charge weight. So the 20.9 at 2,500 feet per second was the best group on that particular load. So we're going to expand on that and see if maybe either something a little bit higher or a little bit lower might group better. So let's get it going. You are welcome to enjoy the music while I fast forward through my shooting, or you can fast forward to the end and see the results. All right, so let's bring them in and see how we did. All right, this was the load that we were working off of, but at 21.1, that's my tightest group. This was definitely a flyer. I remember pulling that one, and I think that one too. Those two grouped okay. This grouped okay. We had a good group here with a flyer, but we will take them home and measure them and see how they did. So here are my results from the range today with the 75 grain boat tail hollow point. Just to reiterate, Accurate 2495 powder. And what we're doing is we're working off of this previous load development that we did where we had a 20.9 grain powder charge at Accurate 2495, and we shot a group of 0.37 inches. And that, of course, was the best group of the day. And it had that load averaged together. There were two targets. The other target shot a 0.73, which is probably more reasonable for my abilities in shooting. But when you average those two together, you had an average group size of 0.55, and the best 4 out of 5 averaged under a half an inch. So those grouped pretty well together. So what I wanted to do was develop a load around this, because we had an okay group here at 21.4, but I wanted to see if there was a node to either side of this 20.9 load. So what we loaded was 20.9 in the center, which shot that best group, and then we stepped down to 20.8 and 20.7, and from there we also stepped up to 21.0 and 21.1. The best group of the day was here at 0.57 inches with the best 4 out of 5 at 0.40. At that load that we shot a 0.37 inch group with earlier, we had groups of 0.78 and 1.05, and we only averaged to 0.92. So that was a little disappointing. So I'm not sure what was different here, perhaps a different cartridge, a different primer maybe for this group. Or maybe that was just good luck. Maybe this is how I normally shoot, and I just got a little lucky here. But that's exactly the point of aim where I was shooting for. And so anyway, don't know why that was not replicated on this target, but we had larger groups. The best group starting right off the bat, and this would be our coal barrel shot, 0.96 and 0.94, that's at 20.7 grains. And then from there, it started spreading out a little bit. This is just over an inch. Here at our ideal charge weight, so we thought we only averaged 0.92. And then above that, we had a group of 0.92 with the best 4 out of 5 at 0.49. But then the group below that, we had a 1.92 spread from here to here. And so I remember this was my first shot, and it was way off. And I think this was probably the third or fourth shot. But for some reason, I guess I just flinched here. This is probably more indicative of how that round actually shoots. But then at 21.1, I had my best group of 0.57 inches. And then the charge weight, the target above that, shot just over an inch. But the best 4 out of 5, I'll note here, was 0.41, whereas the best 4 out of 5 here was 0.40, and those were at the same charge weight. So I had a flyer here that threw this off, but otherwise these grouped very well at that 21.1 charge. So this may be where I'll need to maybe focus a little, because we have two targets giving kind of similar information. You've got a flyer here, shooter error can account for that, but here you've got a really tight group in this load and this load at 21.1 grains. All right, so the takeaway here is that maybe when I was shooting the 20.9 grains before and got this 0.37 group, maybe there's a little bit of luck involved there. I used to play in a pool league, and I know sometimes you'll take a shot, and sometimes it's just absolute luck that it goes in. But I think it was Arnold Palmer that said, the more I practice, the luckier I get. And it may be the case with shooting as well. Maybe I was just having a really good moment there. And also at this lower charge weight, I had a 0.50 group there previously. But in any event, the better groups here seem to be on the extreme end. at the 21.1 and the 20.7. Of course, there's only 0.4 of a grain difference there. But in any event, just to give you an indication of how different loads shoot with that particular bullet and how I shoot with that particular bullet. And so the takeaways are that it's a lot of fun experimenting with these different loads and charges. And sometimes you get lucky and you zero in on something that it looks like it's going to work for you. So we shall go from there. All right, look, thanks so very much for watching. If you have a thought or a suggestion or a comment, please feel free to leave that below. I try to respond to each and every one. I'm not such a large channel now that I can't interact with the viewers, and I appreciate every one of you. And for those of you who are maybe seeing this for the first time, I hope you will please give us a like and a share and even subscribe to the channel. Until next time, blessings, and I'll see you soon.